Every predator on Earth was born with something that made killing possible. Lions got claws and crushing jaws. Cheetahs got speed. Crocodiles got armor. Snakes got venom. Even animals that could not fight back were given camouflage, shells, horns, or the ability to disappear before danger arrived. And then there were humans. No claws, no fangs, no armor, no great speed. Our skin tore easily. Our teeth were small, and almost everything dangerous on the African landscape could outrun us, overpower us, or kill us before we got close enough to fight back. By every normal rule of nature, humans should have remained prey. Instead, somewhere along the way, something went wrong for every other animal on the planet because the weak, hairless creature that had no business surviving became the most dangerous predator Earth had ever produced. And the strange part is that humans did not become stronger. Strength simply stopped being necessary. Go back a few million years, and our ancestors were not standing proudly at the top of the food chain. They lived among lions, leopards, hyenas, crocodiles, giant snakes, and powerful herbivores that could crush a human without even trying to eat one. Sometimes early humans hunted, sometimes they scavenged, sometimes they waited for larger predators to finish feeding, then moved in afterward, cutting away whatever meat remained and smashing open bones to reach the marrow inside. That was the advantage at first, not killing the animal, finding something useful after the real killers were finished. But even then, something unusual was beginning to happen. A human could pick up a stone, strike it against another stone, create a sharp edge, and suddenly possess a cutting surface no part of the human body had evolved. The hand was still weak, but now it held an artificial tooth. A branch could become a club, a broken rock could cut through hide, a heavy stone could open a bone that human jaws could never crush. Stone tools found at Lomekwi in Kenya were made around 3.3 million years ago, before the earliest known members of our own genus. Every other predator was trapped inside the weapon it had been born with. A lion could not sharpen its claws after a failed hunt. A crocodile could not redesign its jaws. A cheetah could not decide that speed was not working and build something else. Humans could. And once an animal can manufacture its own weapons, every physical weakness becomes temporary. But before tools could make humans dangerous, hunters still had to get close enough to use them. And that should have ended the story because humans were not fast. A kudu could disappear across open ground in seconds. A zebra could leave a person far behind. Even many predators that humans later competed with could outrun us almost immediately. But speed only matters if the chase ends quickly. Imagine you are a kudu standing beneath the midday sun. Something has been following you since morning, but it does not look threatening. It is small, upright, hairless, far too slow to catch you, so you run. Within moments, the human is gone. You stop, catch your breath, and begin to cool down. Then you look toward the ridge. The human appears again, not sprinting, not roaring, not even moving quickly, just coming. So you run again. You put more distance between you and it, stop near a patch of shade, and try to recover. Then it appears again, the same figure, the same pace, still carrying the same spear. Every time you escape, it returns. Every time you stop, it forces you to move again. You win every sprint, but your body never gets enough time to recover from the last one. And after hours of running, when your muscles are shaking and the heat inside your body has climbed too high, the slow animal you escaped again and again finally walks towards you. That was persistence hunting, a method some human groups used under the right conditions, and it turned one ordinary human ability into something terrifying: sweating. Humans release heat across much of the skin while they move. Faster animals can generate enormous power, but they also generate enormous heat, and sooner or later, they must stop. Humans did not need to beat the animal in speed. They only needed to keep interrupting its recovery. Human eccrine sweat gland density is about 10 times greater than that of chimpanzees. The animal sprinted away. The human followed the tracks. The animal stopped. The human appeared again. The prey won every sprint, but the human decided how many sprints there would be, and the most dangerous part was not the endurance. It was what happened after the animal disappeared. A human could stop, look at the ground, and continue hunting something that was no longer visible. A deep hoof print suggested weight and direction. Broken grass showed where the animal had passed. Fresh dung showed how recently it had been there. The spacing between tracks could reveal whether the animal was walking calmly, running in panic, or beginning to tire. The animal had vanished, but it had left a story behind, and humans learned to read it. A skilled tracker could look at the ground and think ahead. A tired animal might move toward shade, a wounded animal might avoid open ground, a frightened herd might turn toward water. The hunter was no longer simply following the animal. The hunter was predicting it. Distance usually creates safety. Once an animal disappears beyond a ridge, the predator loses sight of it and the chase begins to fall apart. But human hunters could reconstruct where the animal had been, estimate where it was going, and choose a shorter route to meet it there. The prey was reacting to the danger behind it. The human was preparing for the decision ahead of it. And once humans could predict where prey would go, they did not all need to follow from behind. One hunter could stay on the trail while another moved toward water. Others could spread toward likely escape routes. The prey might see one human behind it without knowing that more were already waiting ahead. Humans were not the first animals to hunt together. Wolves coordinate, lions surround prey, dolphins herd fish, orcas learned specialized hunting techniques within their family groups. But humans could sit together before a hunt and discuss an animal that was not even there. They could describe tomorrow's plan tonight. They could assign roles, change those roles, warn one another, and prepare for movements the prey had not yet made. A tracker could recognize the trail. Someone familiar with the landscape could identify the likely escape route. Another hunter could know where the ground narrowed or where the herd usually crossed. Language allowed separate pieces of knowledge to become one plan. One human was weak. Several humans sharing that plan became something else. Not a stronger animal, a smarter system, and if the hunt failed, that system could improve. The hunters could return and explain what happened. The herd turned too early. The wind carried their scent. The spear broke. The animal escaped through a gap no one had covered. Failure did not disappear when the hunt ended. It became information, and information made the next hunt more dangerous. Then humans began solving the greatest problem in hunting: distance. Getting close to a large animal could be fatal. A mammoth could crush a hunter. A wild bull could gore someone. A horse could kick hard enough to break bone. Even wounded prey could kill the person approaching it. So humans shaped wood into weapons. They straightened branches, sharpened tips, balanced the weight, and created spears designed to thrust or fly. Now the human did not need to possess the force that entered the animal. The weapon carried it. The hunter could remain outside the immediate reach of horns, hooves, teeth, and tusks while sending force across the space between them. That changed the calculation for every dangerous animal humans pursued. The prey no longer had to reach the human to lose. It only had to enter the weapon's path. Over time, that distance increased. Throwing spears allowed hunters to attack from farther away. Spear throwers added speed and force. Bows stored energy and released it through arrows. Each invention created more space between the hunter and whatever was trying to kill him. Then, humans went even further. They stopped using only weapons they could carry and began turning the environment itself into part of the hunt. A hidden pit became a trap. A narrow passage became an ambush. A line of hunters could push a herd toward people waiting out of sight. A riverbank could limit movement. A cliff could become the final weapon in a chase. The animal thought it was running across ordinary ground. It did not know the ground had already been planned against it. The hunt could begin before the animal arrived. Humans could study a migration route, prepare the terrain, hide the danger, and wait for the prey to make the choice they had already anticipated. A lion hunted with its body. Humans could hunt with an entire valley. Then they took away another advantage predators had always possessed: night. Humans cannot see well in darkness. Big cats, hyenas, and other predators can move through it far more effectively. Once the sun disappeared, early humans should have become easy targets. Then they controlled fire. Fire gave warmth and made some foods easier to process, but from the perspective of a predator, it did something far more disturbing. It created a boundary. At Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, burned plant material and bone show that fire was present inside a hominin-occupied cave about 1 million years ago. Fire did not make the night safe. It made darkness defensible. A predator approaching a human camp was no longer moving toward a sleeping, helpless animal. It was moving toward light, smoke, shouting, burning branches, flying stones, and hunters holding spears. Before fire, darkness concealed the predator from the human. Now the edge of the darkness could expose the predator to the entire group. Eyes reflected in the light. Movement disturbed the shadows. An approach that had once been silent could suddenly end with flame moving directly toward it. The animal that had once been prey had created a protected island inside the night. And this became the human answer to almost everything. Too cold? Wear the skin of another animal? No natural shelter? Build one? Prey too fast? Trap it? Animal too dangerous? Attack from farther away. One hunter too weak? Bring more hunters. Humans did not wait for their bodies to evolve. They changed the conditions of the encounter. And that is the real reason ancient humans became the ultimate predator. It was not persistence hunting alone. It was not intelligence alone. It was not tools, language, fire, or cooperation by themselves. It was the way every advantage strengthened the others. Endurance gave humans time. Tracking gave them information. Language moved that information between people. Cooperation turned separate individuals into a coordinated hunting system. Weapons allowed that system to strike beyond the reach of claws. Traps turned prediction into control. Fire gave the group territory it could defend. But one final ability made all of those advantages far more powerful. Humans could teach. A young hunter did not have to begin with nothing. He could inherit the best spear design the group already knew. He could learn which tracks meant danger, where herds usually turned, which animals fought back, and why the previous hunt had failed. He could watch someone shape a stone instead of discovering the method alone. He could hear about an animal he had never encountered and still know how it behaved. He could inherit warnings from hunters who were no longer alive. Then he could improve what he had been given. That meant human knowledge could accumulate. A successful method did not have to vanish with its inventor. A useful change could spread through the group. A better point could be copied. A stronger binding could be taught. A successful trap could be rebuilt somewhere else. Each generation received a toolkit that had already survived years of mistakes. A lion cub inherits a powerful body. A human child inherits instruction. And instructions can change faster than bodies ever could. But the clearest evidence of what that system became is not buried beneath an ancient campsite. It is happening now modern humans still hunt. But machines, firearms, boats, sonar, roads, and global markets have removed many of the limits that once controlled how much a predator could take. Natural predators usually take the animals they can catch without spending more energy than the meal provides. Humans often target large, healthy adults because they offer more meat, larger trophies, or greater market value. A global analysis found that humans can remove adult prey at rates up to 14 times higher than non-human predators. The hairless hunter no longer has to follow hoofprints beneath the sun. It can find prey from a vehicle, track it electronically, strike from beyond sight, and transport the kill farther than any natural predator could carry it. The ancient advantage did not disappear. It scaled. So return to the kudu one final time. A human could lose the trail, a spear could miss, a mammoth could kill a hunter. Ancient hunting parties failed constantly, but the survivors remembered. They returned to camp, explained what happened, changed the weapon, changed their positions, brought more people, and came back with a better plan. The prey was not facing a perfect predator. It was facing a predator that became more dangerous every time it failed. Humans were never stronger than mammoth. They were never faster than horses. They never possessed the senses of wolves or the natural weapons of lions. But they could combine endurance, prediction, cooperation, tools, fire, and memory into a system no animal had evolved to face. Other predators changed biologically across generations. Humans redesigned their strategy between hunts. That is how an animal without claws became the ultimate predator. Not because it never failed, but because every failure taught the next hunter how to win.